The person that I was on the phone with, it was actually me returning a phone call to Miranda's father, of all people. You're right to say of all people. That's one of the very last people that I would ever expect you to be on the phone with. Miranda's father. Charlotte's grandfather. Why? Why were you on the phone with this man? It's none of my business. But why? Well, he seemed genuine. He doesn't seem at all like how people have presented him. I don't know if I'm just misreading him. I don't usually misread people like that, but he called me because he's obviously trying to get in contact with Miranda. He feels terrible about what happened to Junior, never getting to meet his grandson. And I guess because of that, he's very eager to meet Charlotte, being that, I guess, the death of Junior really affected him in terms of being a grandfather. So he asked me if I knew where Miranda was or if I could connect him to her, and I told him no. And we just got to talking a little bit. Well, it was one phone call, so can't really learn a lot about a person with one phone call, especially someone like him, who disappeared on Miranda, who has such a terrible marriage with Kristen. It's funny how these men always come back later in life as if time erased everything they did, but I digress. Why, my question to you is why did he call you of all people? You know what I mean? You're, why you? I asked him that actually, and he told me that he did go to Joey first. And Paul said that Joey was a little bit dismissive of the whole thing, even though Paul helped him at times, this and that. But I guess Joey just doesn't want anything to do with Miranda at this point, which is understandable. And so Joey said, maybe I know where Miranda is. I think he just told Paul that to get him off his back. But whatever, he gave him my number and I took the call. Okay, makes sense, I get it. It still makes my skin crawl that Joey was in contact with him at one point. But better Miranda's father than his own, I would say. Can I ask you why you felt the need to humor this man? You know how terrible he was. You know how much of a coward he was to walk out on Miranda in her when she was 13. Things that this man, unforgivable. So why would you take a call with him? Because it was an honest phone call. He just had some questions. He's trying to get in touch with his granddaughter and his daughter, trying to be a good grandparent. I support that. I believe in redemption. You've redeemed yourself. You can't deny someone a redemption arc of sorts, you know? And this man, from what he told me, has been really trying to get in touch with Miranda for months now. And, you know, she's told Joey no, and the stuff with his ex-wife happened with prison, and was just trying to be nice. Well, I'm sure you're not surprised to hear that I don't think he deserves to see his granddaughter one bit. The reason I always got upset at Miranda was because compared to her father, compared to your father, I was a saint. I should have always been allowed to see my grandson on holidays, this and that. But Paul, he walked out on Miranda, his daughter, and he thinks he's entitled to walk back into her life and get to see his granddaughter, skip a generation, and then it's easier being a grandparent. He gets to do the easy work. Play ball with the kid, take some pictures, look like you're present. No. I see right through it. It's BS. Again, these men just come back in when it's a lot easier, when you don't have to change the diapers, when you don't have to spend the nights watching the baby. It makes me upset because I worked hard as a mother. Look, I only know the man from one phone call, so I can't stand here and defend him. But I will say that, again, he did sound genuine. Alright, well, Gabby, you know this. Like you said, you're a good judge of character, and I'm surprised that you're falling for his BS. There's a difference between sounding genuine on one phone call versus being genuine. You don't know if this man was on drugs or drinking on the other end of the line. It's a phone call. You weren't even face to face. You know, for someone who doesn't like Miranda, you're being very, protective of a granddaughter that's not yours. You know what I mean? You have no stake in who gets to see Miranda's kid anymore. It's not like it's Joey's child or anything like that. So why do you get so defensive? I get defensive because Charlotte, even as a baby, has been through enough. I have a soft spot for people who had a father or a husband walk out on them. That's the only sympathy I will ever extend to Miranda, is that she knows what it's like to be in your shoes. A father who abandoned his family and did not return like Brian or Joey, just left to go buy lotto tickets and whatever else. It's the one area that I will always not hate Miranda for. Not that I hate her anymore, but still. I sympathize with her situation and Kristen. That baby's been through enough. She doesn't need a deadbeat grandpa coming into the picture. She's probably way happier now with the people that she does have, even if it's just Miranda. I kind of think that you see Paul as your ex-husband, my dad. And I think that's okay. I think that you have this perception of that generation's father that kind of did the same thing. I just wish that you would kind of admit it, and we would have a better conversation if you could just admit that. That that's the reason why you're so strung up on not letting this man see his grandkid. Fine. I'm not gonna be stubborn. I can admit that. I have no shame in it, I admit it. The way I see it, and I'm not even sure about this, maybe Miranda has a new boyfriend and people in her life now aside from Nanny Agatha, I don't know. But I do see it as she's alone. She's a single mom. She doesn't have her mom. She doesn't have her sister. She's doing everything by herself. It might be kind of good if she had family, someone to help her with her baby. Even if it's a clueless, deadbeat dad who wasn't in her life, maybe he did turn himself around, and maybe he's part of her new life, you know? I can feel good that I kind of put that together. The baby has a grandmother. Her grandmother's in jail, you know? That baby's grandma's in jail. Just the one in jail. Sorry for the delay. Even though I have 2 children that are grown adults, they still have a lot of issues with me, and it's always a fight. So what was the issue again? Brian wants you to take the lie detector test. He doesn't believe you when you said that Miranda has paternity test results on him. Is that correct? Yes. Brian has a very strong perception of me. We have been friends for over a decade now. He knows me, and I don't think that he's buying what I am selling. So he wants me to take a lie detector test. He's not being rude about it. He said he would genuinely not bother Miranda if I passed the test, but I cannot take a lie detector test. I simply cannot do it. And why can't you take a lie detector test? This is rather important. You know, don't you want to prevent him from interfering with your best friend's life? She's far away. Do you really want to allow him to show up at her doorstep and demand his child that's not his? If he believes that she knows the truth, he will stay away. It's not based off of pride or stubbornness or just me not willing to do it. It has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that I know myself enough to the point where I know I am not going to pass a lie detector test, and hence he will find out I'm a liar. Does that make sense? I know myself. I'm not going to pass. I can't do this. You know, I've taken a lot of lie detector tests in my life, actually. None on this show, but in my life. And the key to them is, if you just believe the lie yourself, you pass. That's it. So you have to truly believe that Miranda knows the truth about Brian not being the father, and just truly believe that in your heart, and that's it. Very simple. You have to know yourself more than anyone else. And if you don't know yourself, you're not going to be able to manipulate yourself. You're not going to be able to control yourself. But I shouldn't let this become a lecture. I don't know about you. I mean, I can assume, but I will not assume. But I know about me, and I am an honest individual. That's the problem here. I am very honest. I am not a liar. I hate liars, and I hate lying. Call me old-fashioned. I just was not raised to lie and fib. Especially to my friends, the people close to me. I don't even like lying to strangers. Alright, well, I can't stand here arguing with you. I really can't. So I guess he's just gonna have to go to Montana and take his child away, and then he will face a court battle. Please don't mistake this for complaining, because I am not. I love it when a problem like this, a very unorthodox problem, meets its resolution rather quickly, but I'm shocked that you're just giving up. That's it? You're really not going to push any further? Yes, that's the resolution? Just let it happen? I'm a little shocked by that. Not that I know you too well, but what can we do? He has a strong lead, as you say. He's determined to find his daughter. He has nothing else going on in his life. How are we going to stop this man? He is on the birth certificate. He is entitled to his daughter. We may all know the truth, but the courts don't. They unless they order a mandated paternity test, the truth will never come out, so why fight it? Wait a minute. Now this is a hunch of mine. I could be wrong. But I don't think that I am. You mentioned taking Brian to court and your sudden reversal and just giving up. Are you actually maybe desiring to be a grandmother again? Are you actually interested in Brian bringing Charlotte back to Serafina Town so you can lay claim to your granddaughter? Are you getting a soft spot for Charlotte? I mean, she is your blood. It would be understandable. I just don't know what changed. I know you wanted to keep Miranda out of town, keep your son protected from your ex-daughter-in-law. Am I right? No. No. I want my son to live his life with Melissa, and I know that there will be trouble if Miranda comes back. I do not want Brian going to Montana whatsoever. Please understand I'm being respectful when I say I do not believe you. And I would like to know what changed your mind, because if I had known you didn't care and you actually wanted Charlotte back here in Serafina Town, then I wouldn't have wasted my breath on my friend. And this lie detector problem would not be a problem. What has changed your mind? Because I can tell you're on board with being a grandmother to Charlotte all of a sudden. Fine. You must know, and I'm only telling you this because you're a stranger and I have no one else to tell it to. It's just a genuine feeling of mine. Miranda's father is trying to reunite with his granddaughter. And I guess I was okay with Charlotte being grandparentless. But there is something in me, and this has always been the case, where when my grandchild's other biological grandparent is in the picture, I get very jealous. I don't want my granddaughter getting to see her grandfather if I can't get to see my granddaughter. This is just new feelings for me. I just don't understand it because you had no interest before. Does that make sense? You had zero interest. That's not true. It's not true. On Sal's deathbed, death chair, he told me about the paternity test results and that I was still indeed, in fact, a grandmother. And because my son is happy, and because I do not want Miranda back in the picture and I don't want them together, I don't want to ruin my son's life with the news that he is still a father, I squashed my feelings down. But now hearing that Paul wants to come back into his daughter's life and meet his granddaughter, that's not fair. I lost a grandchild, and I knew my grandchild. Paul lost a grandchild without ever meeting him. You can stand there and say that hurts, but it does not hurt more than actually knowing the grandchild. It's not fair, and I'm a little jealous. So maybe I do want to meet my granddaughter, but I am wrestling with that because I don't want Miranda back, and I don't want to ruin what Joey has with Melissa. It's all very convoluted. Well, I'm no Sherlock Holmes. I don't know what the future holds, but if you can't find Miranda, if Brian, while turning over every stone, cannot find her, then I do not think that Paul will find her either. Yes, Brian has a very strong lead, but that doesn't guarantee that he's even going to find her. So if it's a concern that Paul, this man who has not been in Miranda's life since she was 13, is going to find her, I don't think you should have that concern, because he doesn't seem that well-witted, if I may say so, if that's a term. I don't think you have to worry about that. No one's finding her, especially not him. Now you sound like the one who doesn't want Miranda to be found, and now you sound like the one who wants to keep Brian away from her. What changed in you? Because I gave it some thought, and there's plenty of good reason why we should leave Miranda alone. Your son, I don't necessarily enjoy him, nor do I enjoy him being with Miranda. Miranda's happiness, and of course, if Brian finds his daughter, he's just going to be living in delusion because she is not his daughter. He has to get over her. Let her real father. It's tricky. Okay, so then we must come to an agreement. I need to not be jealous of other grandparents with my grandchild, and I need to understand that Miranda is happy and to leave her be at the expense of me ever meeting my granddaughter, me ever holding her. And I agree, Paul will not find her. We can't find her. But you have to come to the realization that you have a lie detector test to take. And if you pass that lie detector test, then your friend Brian will move on with his life. And he won't bother Miranda because she knows the truth. He is not the father. Believe the lie. Believe in your heart that you can pass this test, and we will all be out of the water, and we can all move on. Will you be able to move on, though, as a grandmother? No. I'm going to live the rest of my life knowing that I have a grandchild out there, and because I'm trying to protect my son and do what's right by my kids for once. Do what's right by my daughter-in-law for once. I'm being selfless. That's what I have to live with. I may never have grandchildren to play with and feed and watch them swim in the pool. But that's fine. It's about time I be selfless, right? So how about you, Victor? Figure this out, because I'm not the one that has to take this stupid lie detector test.